Welcome back to the Future Strong podcast. I'm so glad you're all here with us today. We're going to be talking about something that I think is incredibly important, and increasingly so, which is how to think critically in a world where we are absolutely drowning in information. And to help us unpack this, we have an expert in the field.
Right.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here. One of the things that I think is so interesting about this topic is just how much the landscape has changed, even in like the last 5 years.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
It feels like the volume just keeps increasing.
Yeah.
And it's hard to know what to pay attention to, what to ignore, what to trust.
Absolutely. And I feel like I'm constantly having to remind myself of that quote that we pulled for today's show, which is, information is everywhere, but not all of it is created equal.
Right. And that's so key.
Yeah.
Because I think for a long time,
We sort of had this assumption that if something was published or if something was presented to us, that it must have some inherent value.
yeah,
But now it's like,
anyone can post anything.
right, anyone can post anything,
And it can be really hard to tell.
the good from the bad.
Exactly. And that's where critical thinking comes in.
So let's talk about that. So critical thinking, what does that even mean?
Yeah, it's one of those phrases that gets thrown around a lot, but I think it really boils down to this.
It's about engaging with information actively,
Right.
not just passively absorbing it.
Exactly.
And it's about asking yourself some really key questions. Like, where is this information coming from? What's the agenda here? What might be missing from this perspective?
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that I've had to really learn to do is to detach my emotional reaction to whatever it is I'm reading or watching.
Yes, especially online, because things are often designed to trigger us,
Exactly.
to get us to react without thinking.
Yeah, and so how do we do that? Like, what are some practical tips?
Well, I think one of the most helpful things is to really start with the source.
Okay.
Is this person or organization qualified to provide this information?
Yeah.
What's their track record? Do they have any known biases?
And I think that that's something that we often forget to do. We just see a headline or we see a tweet,
Right.
and we immediately react to it without taking a moment to say, okay, who's saying this
Right.
and why are they saying this?
Exactly.
And I think that's a great segue to the next question, which is, what is the agenda here? Because even if someone is qualified to speak on a particular topic, they might still have an ulterior motive.
Right.
They might be trying to sell us something, or they might be trying to promote a particular ideology.
Yeah, and sometimes those agendas are very subtle.
Right.
They're not always blatant or obvious.
And I think it's also important to remember that information can be incomplete,
Yes.
even if it's coming from a seemingly credible source. So we have to ask ourselves, what's missing from this perspective? Is there another side to this story?
Right.
And if so, where can I find it?
Exactly.
And I think that brings us to another really important question, which is there any bias or unfairness at play? Are subjective opinions being passed off as facts?
And I think this is where things can get really tricky, because sometimes it can be hard to differentiate between fact and opinion, especially when something is presented with a lot of confidence or authority.
Yes.
But it's crucial to look for evidence
Right.
to support the claims that are being made.
And to be aware of our own biases,
Absolutely.
because we all have them,
Yeah.
and they can influence how we interpret information.
Right.
So how do we actually start to put all of this into practice? Like, I can imagine our listeners right now thinking, okay, this all sounds great, but how do I actually do this in my everyday life?
Well, I think one of the best things you can do is to start small.
Okay.
Pick one question.
To focus on each day.
Exactly.
Okay.
So today, maybe you just pay attention to the sources of the information you encounter. Tomorrow, you might focus on identifying any potential biases. And over time, these questions will become more and more integrated into your thinking process.
So it's about building a habit
Exactly. It's not something that happens overnight.
and being patient with ourselves.
Yes. Because we're all learning and
I
growing.
love that. And I think that's such a great reminder that critical thinking is a journey, not a destination.
Yeah, right.
So thank you so much for being here. This has been so insightful.
My pleasure.
And for our listeners, keep those critical thinking muscles flexed. And we'll see you next time on the Future Strong podcast.